topics and opinions expressed in the following show are solely those of the host and their guests and not those of W4CY Radio, its employees, or affiliates. We make no recommendations or endorsements for radio show programs, services, or products mentioned on air or on our web. No liability, explicit or implied, shall be extended to W4CY Radio or its employees or affiliates. Any questions or comments should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for choosing W4CY Radio.
Welcome to the Ask the Expert show on W4CY Radio and Talk4 TV, where we bring you educational information from top local experts in the fields of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. Now sit back and listen to experts in family law, association law, hearing loss, business brokers, home care, along with many other topics. Now here are your hosts, Steve-O and Sophia.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome to another Ask the Expert show. Hey, we've got a incredible show for you today. We're actually just waiting. Rebel, just let me know when Dr. Simmons comes on. Okay, we're waiting on Dr. Kurt Simons. He's with the Disc Centers of America. And if you're in the Wisconsin area, especially when it comes to functional medicine, this is probably one of the top doctors in the state of Wisconsin. And we just did a show in Dallas about 10 minutes ago. And it's another doctor who does functional medicine. And we were just hearing about all the different areas that they can treat now. You know, your chiropractors have come so far, folks. I got to tell you, the areas that they treat now just blows me away. The things that they are doing, it used to be whiplash. Oh my God, they've come so much farther ahead. They're doing neuropathy, which is one of Dr. Simon's areas of expertise. And for those of you who have neuropathy, it is very painful. You lose your balance from it. You have tingling in your fingers and your feet. And it's amazing. A lot of people just kind of blow it off and they don't even know what it is. And they sure don't know what type of doctor they should go see. But I have just, I guess in the last 8 to 10 months, we have started doing in many of our markets a neuropathy show. And I got to tell you that it is what these doctors are now doing, especially the Disc Centers of America, which Dr. Simons is affiliated with. They are doing techniques that will help you with neuropathy. I'm going to give you his name of his center is the Brookfield Disc Center. His phone number is 262-246-3000. And I got to tell you, I'm just totally amazed the things that they're doing with neuropathy. A friend of mine was telling me about symptoms that they had, but did not know what it was. And I had no idea until we started doing these shows on neuropathy. And I got to tell you, there's people that didn't take care of neuropathy, and it's usually in the feet, that literally lost toes. Some of them even lost their foot amputation because they didn't take care of it. So I know people are going, so again, tell me how do I know if I have neuropathy? Well, the first thing you notice is your balance. And if you've got you're especially people really notice it when they're in the shower and when they have neuropathy, they have balance problems. And you hear about a lot of people falling in the shower. And a lot of that was because of balance. And a lot of that was due to neuropathy. That's the first thing. Then you notice you'll get tingling in your fingers and your feet. And it's amazing the stories that I've heard now since we've started doing these shows where their doctor said that basically there was nothing wrong with them. There is medication that they give you, but it really doesn't do anything for you. Uh, i- and now these doctors like Dr. Simons, can actually treat neuropathy. And it's not 100%, but we've heard an 85% success rates, which is pretty amazing. So, and it's normally with older people. Don't know why, but that's usually, and we thank God we have an older audience. So that's why our uh, doctors have been so successful with getting new patients from our show. But I got to tell you, the one thing that's so important is you have got to get it treated. You can't let it go. A lot of insurance do not cover it, and mainly because the insurance companies, I think, are so whacked out that there's the thing they don't want to take any chances at all. And there's so many things that chiropractors do that aren't covered by insurance. Um, it's really sad. I know one of the things we talk about is weight gain on our show, which a lot of doctors, chiropractors now treat. But, when you are overweight, uh, the things it's usually have high blood pressure, which could cause a stroke or it could cause a heart attack. Now think about it. Why would a insurance company not cover that when it's going to be so costly to them if their insurer is has a heart attack because of weight, has a stroke because of weight, has diabetes because of weight? You would seem like they would want to take care of the problem now instead of waiting to where it got worse. And that's one of the problems with neuropathy is a lot of people wait until it gets really bad. But we were going to do a whole show on this today, and uh, you know, when you have a practice like Doctor Simons has, um, you get people who come in with acute pain, and they normally don't have an appointment. They're actually rushed in because the pain is so severe. So a lot of times, uh, doctors like Doctor Simmons or Simons, I'm sorry, will get a late patient, will not be able to come on. Um, I'm in no position to talk about neuropathy from a medical standpoint for the next 15 minutes. So it doesn't look like Dr. Kurt's going to make it today. So let me, I guess, spend the rest of the show. If you're listening to our show and you have a business, our show has been running for 15 years. We started off with radio. We were on in about 30 different markets across the country, and our show was always so successful. And I started having friends of mine tell me, "How come you don't do a podcast?" And I'm old school. Radio's what I thought everybody listened to. And there is a talk show that I listen to, and I still listen to all the time. A lot of you probably have heard of Michael Savage. He was on 638 radio stations. I was only on 35 radio stations, but he had such a large audience. And one day he said, "I am leaving radio to go to podcasts." And I was like, I couldn't believe here's somebody who's got one of the most successful talk shows. He's on radio and he's giving up radio to do a podcast. And about 4 months later, I was listening to his podcast because I loved his show. So if that was the only way I could listen to it, I moved over. But what I loved about the podcast is I could listen to his show on my time. I didn't necessarily have to listen to it live like you do radio. So I was like, this is incredible. I'm like loving podcasts where I can go back and listen to it on my time. And then he said, I remember he had a huge audience. And then he said, my audience has doubled since I've gone to podcast. And for some reason, the next day, I was listening to the news, the financial news, and they said Ford Motor was going to stop putting AM radio. Now, if you're a talk show listener, most talk shows are on AM. There are some still on FM, but AM was the biggest. I'm going, here's a big company like Ford Motor Company, and they're going to stop putting AM radios in all their electric cars because uh, some reason um, electric cars don't work well with AM radio. And I said, you know what? This has got to be something from God telling me that I need to move over. And it was the hardest thing I ever did. And I did major, major due diligence. And was able to find the company that we're with now, W4CY Radio, because they offered not just radio and podcast and YouTube, but they offered 75 platforms. There's a lot of platforms out there that and I first of all, when I saw iHeart and Spotify and Apple, it was like this is the company I have to go with. So we moved all of our shows over to W4CY, and we did this about 2 years ago. The one great thing about it is we do all of our shows during the week. With AM radio talk shows, a small company like mine cannot find a weekly spot on radio talk, and if I could, it was 3 times as expensive. There's a lot more people listen to radio during the week than they do on weekends. So this was like a marriage made in heaven. And then I found out they had some of the greatest producers, like who's producing our show like right now with Rebel. And you don't know this, but the producer is very important part of the show. Um, she can't do it without me, and I can't do it without her. And we found that we could become in more markets. And what Ask the Experts does is we bring on experts in the field of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. In home improvement, we do shows like air conditioning, plumbing. One of our big shows is public insurance adjusters. That's a huge show for us when it comes to home improvement. In financial, we do one of our biggest shows is a money management show that we do. Uh, Another show that we do that's probably our biggest is our community association law. So if you live in a condo or an HOA, they have strict laws, as you know, if you live in one. And there are law firms that represent these associations. So we have one of the largest community association firm in the country, Tax Relief, which is a show we did this morning. We have one of the finest tax relief shows. They've actually been with us for 12 years. The Condo Association, HOA Condo Association firm, has been with us for 12 years because they get great success from our show. And it's kind of turnkey. You come on our show, I'm the host of the show. We ask you questions about your expertise, so you're educating the public and you position yourself as an expert, which you are. And because of that, you get referrals from it. And it's a great way to promote your firm. I'm starting to see companies out there trying to do it themselves. Um, Normally, eh, a company that we're with, W4CY TV, is they do everything for us. All you got to do is just show up in your office, which is another big thing. Is because when we did radio, they actually had to come to the studio. And our great producer Rebel, she knows I'm talking about because she's been doing radio for a long time. But guess what happened with COVID? All the studios shut down, and we were off the air for a long time. If God forbid COVID came around now, we would still continue doing the show. Our experts could do it right from their house the way it's set up now. But I mean, this is just 1,000 times better. And you wouldn't believe the cost uh, is really low to do a show like this with us. So we've got doctors, we've got a lot of lawyers that do shows with us. Um, we've got financial people that do shows with us. Um, and every show, you're only on once a month with us because we've got so many shows to do. But you do it right from your house. You don't really need any special equipment. When people say, "What do I need?" I tell them, if you want to really do it the right way, go buy yourself a good camera and earphones. But they're inexpensive anyway. I mean, you're not talking about thousands of dollars. I think I've got my headset is probably one of the top of the lines, and it was $75. You've got a camera built in to your laptop, so you don't really need a camera unless you really want to better the quality. But it is a great way to promote yourself. And our shows are only 25 minutes long. So it doesn't take a lot of time out of, we know, your busy schedule. To reach us, you can call us at 954-336-3767. See, this is amazing. I mean, this is a great example about having a great producer. Normally, we would be running today's expert on our scroll on YouTube, and I just looked down and saw our great producer already has our phone number on. But we realize a lot of you listen to radio or iHeart, so the phone number again is 954-336-3767. And it doesn't matter what kind of business you have. We just had a company on that does a template with your blood replacement, and they're seeing incredible results with chronic diseases, with autism. So you wouldn't even think about a show like that. But I got to tell you, our phones rang off the wall. I could not believe how many calls and texts I got from listeners for this show. We do a functional medicine show on Wednesdays at 10 o'clock Eastern Time. He's been with us, Dr. Taylor's been with us for 4 years now. And if you don't know what functional medicine is, it's if you've ever gone to a doctor, you know something's wrong with you. You know your body. And the doctor says, I don't know, we don't see anything wrong with you. And you know there's something wrong. Well, a functional medicine doctor actually goes in, just for example, with hormones, most MDs get blood work. A doctor like Dr. Taylor is going to get a saliva, which is a lot more accurate. And he will find what is causing your problem so that he can treat it. And it's an amazing show. He actually does his own show, I believe, which I think his show's on, is it on Tuesdays, Rebel? Rebel does Dr. Taylor's show.
Wednesdays at 9 a.m.
Oh, okay. So
Eastern time.
Eastern time. So this is just a great media that it helps to get your practice, your firm out there. I'm sorry we didn't have Dr. Simons on with us today, and he will be with us again next month. That's going to do it for us today. Thanks for tuning in. I'm sorry we didn't have Dr. Simons on with us today, but again, he will be back with us next month, and we'll be back with you next week with more Ask the Experts.
Thanks for tuning in today to the Ask the Expert show on W4CY Radio and Talk4 TV. Tune in next week and every week to hear more from our experts on personal injury, insurance, air condition repairs, estate planning, Medicare, and many other topics in the areas of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. See you next week.